Hey lovelies, it's Lisa here. And of course, hashtag 78 days. Now, now, then, and always. Hashtag 78 days till the end of eternity. No, actually, only 22 days left. Wow. Although now that I mention it, 22 days sounds like a long time. Okay. Hashtag 78 days, and today is the Seven of Cups. And I think my starting point for this card is to ask this question that's kind of inspired. It's kind of inspired, first of all, by the Ace, and the Ace in Pixies deck, which is inviting us to wonder, what will it take for us to feel full? What's required that we, in order for us to feel that our lives, our hearts, are satisfied, that we, like this cup, are complete, are replete, are abundant and enriched. What does it take to be full? How can we be satisfied? Because it seems to me that mostly we humans are not satisfied. It's like we want what we don't have, we actively don't want some of the things we do have, the stuff that we have that we love, we want to hold on to forever, we're terrified of losing it, whether we're talking about things or qualities like health or the people in our world, the beings in our world. We're just, it's that fundamental sort of grasping, right, of the origin of human suffering, or that aversion to pain and discomfort. So we're not satisfied. It's really hard to feel full. It's really hard to feel like we have enough. And that's not because, we're weak or greedy or selfish, or like it's not like we're, I don't know, it's not like we lack willpower or like, we need to get on a self-improvement kick. It's just, this is the nature of living in finite mortal bodies, that it's hard to feel full. It's hard to feel the abundance of our world. Now in the Shadowscapes Tarot, right, in Stephanie Puimun Law's deck, a deck that, you all know this deck, this beautiful deck. I think the way that she asked this question is, first of all, the beautiful imagery she uses of the cups and their wateriness. And, here we have in the very first image of the cups, we've got the cup standing in what is clearly the watery medium filled with fish. And, it's this question of like, how do we feel at home in the waters in which we swim? Like, how do we feel at home? How do we feel at peace? How do we find the right stream for our life? This image also makes me think of something, particularly when I first started dating my husband, before he was my husband. We'd embrace and kiss, and I'd say, "I miss you," and he would just laugh like, "You have me. How do you miss me?" But there's this way in which, we can get so thirsty for life that we don't realize that we're thirsting, and yet we're in the middle of water. It's water all around us. Our thirst is not because we don't have enough to drink. Our thirst is because we don't know how to drink and how to be full. So I think that's kind of the question of the cups, like how do I drink of this water that's all around me? And, in the sequence of cards we've been looking at so far, we've seen ways in which, the archetypes are showing us this kind of turning away from the gift, from the present, of this present moment, this sense of regret and loss, like, this sense that things are irrevocable and irretrievable, like once something is gone, like the liquid spilling out of these cups, we can't pour that liquid back in. And so, It's like you can't step into the stream, the same stream twice. It's always moving, and that sense of time and loss, things are one way, you know. The Six of Cups, as we were talking about yesterday, you know, invites us to have a different relationship to time, invites us to see the ways in which our recognition that some things are lost, we aren't children anymore, nonetheless allows us to cherish that childlike spark of our heart, allows us to see this creative relationship to things where, you know, cups become vases and water becomes flowers. So we had that kind of hopeful sense of nostalgia in the Six of Cups. The Seven of Cups now, however, asks us to see the ways, I think, in which that ability that we have to imagine, to remember, to create images in our mind, how that may be precisely one of the things that keeps us stuck, that keeps us paralyzed. So, you know, the classic way to read the Seven of Cups is to say, like, this is a cup that's about, like, this proliferation of options and this kind of daydreamy relationship to life where I can picture things one way and one way and one way, and I never move forward, right? Nothing ever changes, nothing ever happens. I don't commit to anything. I've got my back turned to life, and instead imagining all these, you know, dangers and, you know, epiphanies and victories and, you know, sensual rewards and falling in love and, you know, quests and, you know, everything, a holy sense of ascending up the mountain. We can picture all these tremendous things or terrifying things, and all of that nervous activity, or even maybe it's positive activity, that energetic movement toward our own imagination has us turning away from our life as we're actually living it. Whereas I think this relationship to the past shows us how our ideas might enrich us, might give us a sense of plenitude and wholeness. But the seven, right? I think in the Shadowscapes we get a really beautiful image of this dilemma. What I really like about this card in Stephanie Puman Law's rendering is the way it departs from the traditional iconography. So, you know, if the traditional imagery is you have a proliferation of choices, too many options, too many paths to take, hence you're not taking any path, you're turning your back on life. This isn't about that paradox of choice. In the book that goes with this deck, the author writes, her head is lost in the clouds. She has stars in her eyes, and her mental focus is occluded by the moon as she looks to the castle in the sky. She is mentally and physically ungrounded and unaware of their precarious perch. And it says a little further down, meanwhile, he is a little more grounded. While she gazes to the vision of the floating dream, his eyes are on the castles that are on the surrounding cliffsides. Though difficult to reach, they are attainable, even though the arcane symbols on the map may be obscure. He knows the pain of yearning for the impossible, but she doesn't. Look up, she says. He tries to ignore the thoughts. He nods absently. He tries to ignore the thoughts. What if we could reach the floating citadel? And continues to scrutinize the map that the magician gave him. So Stephanie Puman Law is setting up this dichotomy between, you know, her sort of, her impossible dreaming. The dreaming itself is impossible. Like, she doesn't realize that, like, what she's envisioning is just a pie in the sky, a citadel in the sky, a castle in the sky idea. He, on the other hand, much more pragmatic, knows the impossibility of the dream, and instead is focusing on what feels impossible, extremely difficult, a future goal. He's a little bit more grounded, Stephanie Puman Law says. But they're both on the cliff. They're both just like the fool on a cliff. They're both pointed toward a future that doesn't yet exist. He's being very theoretical, very studious. He's holding papers that the magician has given him, so there's this sense of a discipline that he's potentially going to embark upon, that he's, you know, that he's dedicated to, committed to. She, on the other hand, is just like, airy fairy. But both of them are not paying attention to where they literally are, which is on a cliff, in the middle of a canyon, facing the unknown. So in Stephanie Puman Law's version, the problem with the Seven of Cups is not this proliferation of choice. The problem with the Seven of Cups is that we're tilted toward a future without paying any attention to the present. Where the Six of Cups uses the past to flesh out the present, the Seven of Cups empties out the present in the name of the future. And it's that lost presence and present that I think this card is warning us about. It's saying, forget about the castle you're going to build. Forget about the fantasized castle in the sky. Forget about the citadel over there in the future. Where are you standing right now? Right now, where are your feet? Right now, what is the citadel of your body? What is it maintaining? How is it being held erect? Right? Where are you right now? I think that's what the Seven of Cups is inviting us to ask. And it's inviting us to drink deep of this present moment. Okay, I think that's all I got for now at any rate. Thank you all so much for being here. As always, thank you for your practice. Thank you for following me on this endless journey through the 78